All right, ladies and gentlemen, in the top left of the light shade for Shopify Rebellion, he's your blue Terran. His name is BYUN.
And spawning here at the bottom right, we have our red Zerg player. He's our reigning, defending GSL Codas champion. He is Rogue.
So I did a little bit of a cheat. I looked up who historically has done better on a Ligalag. And actually, currently, historically, BYUN has a 68% win rate.
Oh, wow.
I believe. Yeah. I'm not sure if that's in TVZ or against Rogue. I think it's in TVZ. No, 61 versus opposing race score versus each other. BYUN does hold the slight edge. So, just interesting little fact there. Because, you know, there are a lot of people who, they can beat Zergs and they can't beat Rogue. Just because Rogue is kind of a different breed. Apparently that's not the case for BYUN in the past. But we'll have to see. Because right now, currently, of course, you do have Rogue, still the reigning GSL champion. Kind of demolished Maru there and has been doing decently since then. Hasn't really, there haven't been a lot of big events for him to really show up at, which is usually where Rogue does his best. You know, when he's getting to those semifinals, finals of these really large, you know, big prize money events. That's when Rogue kind of becomes monstrous.
Yeah, I mean, there are some players that just rise up when the lights shine the brightest. Some people are like, that kind of reminds me of that, is that like SOS and like you said, Rogue as well. They just kind of, once they get into like the deep rounds, they tend to raise up their level and perform well. So, but yeah, BYUN, he's a great, historically he's been a great TVZ player. So I'm not surprised about his TVZ win rate. And I would say, you know, on paper, Rogue probably has the advantage, but because BYUN is so great in TVZ, I say it's not a surefire bet.
Yeah, BYUN's TVZ has always been his, it's always his best matchup. It kind of has ups and downs where sometimes, you know, he runs into a Zerg opponent that does know how to kind of counter what he, how he plays, because you know, BYUN is very, very reliant on, hey, I'm going to go with this, you know, Marines, Marauders, you know, Mines and Medivacs. I'm going to really force the issue with this. You know, he adds on some tanks, and he does, you know, get into Ghost Tech, but that's really kind of the extent of where the tech stops for BYUN. Sometimes he does have an issue where when it gets to the really late game, getting up into, you know, Liberators, large Viking counts, and kind of that more turtly Terran style, just doesn't go for it. And sometimes it works out and he's able to, you know, still micro his armies perfectly. Other times you do see a Zerg start to roll him over as soon as it gets past, you know, the 8-10 minute mark. And that's kind of what we saw in his like more recent series against like Serral.
Yeah. All right, so pretty standard opening by both players. Looks like BYUN going for that 1-1-1 build, which is as common as it gets. Now, Rogue has decided to go for the triangular dirt base, which is, I would say, you know, from the previous games that I have watched, like it seems to be like the preferred base to get. Although it's a little bit troublesome when it comes to dropping, but I think because it's such a big wide open area and it allows the Zerg to kind of get a nice surround if there is a push.
Yeah, pretty much. And the reason why a lot of Zergs like to take that third base straight up from their natural was because, hey, if a Terran goes for a drop play, they can't just, you know, elevator from your third into your main or from the main into the third. But I think Zergs kind of realized, well, if we just, Zerglings are fast enough, if we maneuver well enough, that's not going to be an issue. This is just an easier base to defend. It's wide open, but we do have BYUN here going to be going for a bit of a Hellbat timing. This is one that he's done before with 4 Marines in the Medevac, the Hellbats, and the Reaper. Rogue doesn't seem like he's that prepared for it. There is no Spine Crawler done. One now just going down on the high ground, but the Hellbats are marching straight up. The Queens are going to go down. Nice transfuse to keep that one alive, but that Spine Crawler is not going to finish.
Oh man, this is not looking good for our red Terran. I mean, this is the type of build that kind of snowballs if it gets out of hand. And the Zerglings are kind of streaming out little by little, one by one in the line here for these Hellbats to take care of. And the Queen numbers are dwindling by the second.
Yeah, I mean, this is I guess this is why Terrans do the Hellbat timing attacks. We always say, why do they do them? They're so bad. Well, I guess this is why. It's for that one time when your opponent, isn't able to really recognize that that's what you're going for. They don't see the attack done. Rogue only just now kind of moved that Overlord in to see the armor, I think. But just wasn't ready for it. Didn't have any roaches out, didn't have a spine crawler, and his queens were not all grouped together. So you see now the third base being evacuated. Eventually this might be cleaned up, but actually with the Banshee joining as well, this actually might get even more scary because despite the fact the medevac's out of energy, well, that Banshee is going to add a whole lot more DPS, and you still have queens that are not on the map. They're just being produced from the hatcheries, and you now see the drone count start to dwindle.
Yeah, even if Rogue somehow, some way manages to clean this up, I feel like the damage already has been done. That Banshee still attacking away at that third. Finally, the Spore Crawler does pop up, which will force BYUN to retreat. But you know what? He does have the cloak, and he will be able to continue shooting, but it doesn't matter anyway. Rogue has to tap out, and BYUN takes game number 1.
All right, so Jagannatha. This is the Zerg map of Zerg maps. You may ask, well, why is that? And if you don't know, well, these are the speed inhibitor zones right here in the middle of the map. They make the rush distance for Zerg units, especially speedlings, on this map so short. This is a map that has a lot of open space for surrounds. The speed zones means that Ling Bane can just maneuver around the map extremely quickly, and so it means that Zerg counterattacks are especially potent here on this map. So I'm not surprised to see that be the map pick from Rogue. But I do wonder if BYUN's going to try and pull out any more, maybe some more fancy timing attacks here to try and catch his opponent off guard.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he actually pulled the same build out once again. Like you mentioned, the inhibitor zones, yeah, it can help the Zergs, but it can also help out the Hellions to ride up. Although, Hellions already ride pretty fast. Now, I'm not quite sure exactly how many miles per hour per hour it can ride. I'm sure that if it was on the highway, a cop might give it a ticket. But yeah, I'm not quite sure. We would need a speedometer, whatever that device is called.
Speedometer, yes.
I forgot what that device is called to measure the car speed.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of so Hellion. It kind of looks like a motorcycle in the loosest definition. I guess more like a four-wheeler. That's what I would relate it to.
I would say a go-kart, right?
Oh yeah, but I think it's a bit more serious than a go-kart.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what go-karts you're seeing that have flamethrowers attached to them, Snoopy, but the place I go to, they're just really small and they have 4 wheels. But I would guess that a Hellion could probably, go at a decent clip. I'd say maybe 60 miles per hour. I think that would be enough. Definitely faster than a Zergling could run.
Now,
although I guess a Zergling would be more like a cheetah, so maybe.
Yeah. I mean, but with the inhibitor zone, I mean, that could bump up to like maybe 80, 100 miles per hour.
Yeah. I mean, don't ask about how the technology of the speed zone does work. It is a mystery to us as well. But that's Protoss technology for you, I assume, at least.
Well, just the look of the map is pretty Protoss-like, right? So.
Yeah, you got like all the gold lining around the water and stuff. I feel like this, if we were talking about like in a campaign, this was the Protoss like kind of city. Where you had like the nice grass and stuff where they can, in the paths where they can go explore around, and then you have your nexuses and floating buildings and things where the Protoss people dwell. It's definitely a Protoss map for one that's surprisingly Zerg favored, but interestingly enough, you were right. We are going to be seeing that armory going down again. BYUN says, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But this time, Rogue, well, he's got that 4-minute Roach Warren.
Yeah, he did, kind of bypass the overlord speed, which means more gas to produce those roaches to help defend. And you can see 5 roaches on the production tab immediately. And what I do like though is that Rogue, he is just gonna go ahead and what looks like he is gonna just kind of run his lings around and go across for a counterattack, while he can just rely on the queens and roaches to defend this attack.
Yeah, absolutely. The roaches are out. They should do a decent job against these Hellbats. Hellbats do still damage the roaches pretty decently as you see them just shred through a few there with their flames. But as BYUN pushes this forward, actually catching out quite a few roaches here is nice. The Ling counterattack does manage to get cleaned up, but the Hellbat's not going to get too much more value out here, and they're going to get picked up, pushed away. BYUN goes for it twice, and this time strikes out.
Yeah, much better hold compared to that first game. But it's still not over yet. BYUN is still, once again, following up with that Banshee with Cloak. And as you can see, Rogue immediately throwing down that Spore Caller. He knows what's up. He's kind of much more prepared this game and this time around. And I do not see him getting too much damage from these Banshees. But oh, these 4 Hellions does run by here.
Yeah, nice damage starting to stack up. A good lineup there. Going to be getting this to 6 workers, and 2 of the Hellions get out. Hellbat drop into the main base at the same time doesn't get too much done. Queens were there and ready, so that's just going to slowly die away. Medevac gets picked off well. Big thing to note here, though, is that there's only 1 Spore Crawler for Rogue. The main and the natural do not have any detection, so if that Banshee goes across the map, could be a lot of damage, but I think BYUN right here is just kind of reading the situation, saying, listen, Rogue, if you want to, could probably just go across the map with these roaches, so I need the Banshees back for defense. That's usually a good read, but in this case, I actually would have liked to see them across the map.
Yeah, I mean, he's just kind of playing it safe. I mean, better safe than sorry, right? So, yeah, I do... Oh, yeah, I think, you know, if, in hindsight, 2020, if he, you know, was seeing what we were seeing, he probably would have flew across the map with these Banshees, but just trying to make sure he crosses his eyes, dot his T's, and no roaches. No roaches, you know, just go outright kill him with the counterattack.
Yeah, absolutely is. Is just going to poke in. Already does get 1 drone. That's very nice. Kind of start to pick away at this roach ball, of course, because there is no Overseer out just yet to be able to try and catch up with these Banshees. But they're just going to poke around. They're going to see what damage they can get done. It's not going to be a lot, because right now you have Rogue taking his 4th base, still producing the roaches, has a pretty decent queen count right now. You're sitting at 6. Usually you'll see Zergs go up to probably, I would say, about 9 at this point in the game, but it's still a healthy amount. You have an extra queen per base to help spread that creep. And at the same time, the roaches will provide ample defense for Rogue. And I do think this is going to be some sort of a timing attack from Rogue. You see the +1/+1 on the way, and I believe this is the same build that he did against Maru, where he would just get +1/+1, had the roach speed, and get, you know, to about 160, 180 supply on those 4 bases, and then just kind of run across the map and try and kill him.
Yeah, well, right now, currently, Rogue is just set up pretty well. Now, I would like to see him kind of prepare for a transition of some sort, because, you know, it's okay in the mid game to rely on roaches and ravagers, but once it heads into the late game, you want something else besides those roaches and ravagers. You want to mix it in with maybe some Hydralisk, or maybe even go into Aspire for some Mulitech. But in the meantime, it seems like Rogue is quite committed into this attack. He has no preparation to transition out of this. He wants to outright kill BYUN, and can he do it? He has a nice little arc here, a nice angle, getting on top of all these tanks. Corrosive Biles cleaning up the rest, and BYUN is forced back into the natural.
Yeah, that CV pull at first was good. The tank stayed alive, but there's just a little bit too much here for Rogue. The Banshees also ended up going down. I don't think they cloaked in time, or they had their cloak up, and that just means they ran out of energy. Queens managed to snipe them out, and that was the main source of DPS that BYUN was going to have to deal with these roaches and ravagers. And yeah, I think this is just going to kill BYUN. You know, it's such a specific preparation you need to have. You need to have a choke point already prepared at your 3rd base. You need to have, you know, a factory down there. You need to have, you know, even another CC building to just block off area for your tanks. It's a very specific response. BYUN did not have it ready. Rogue just going to push straight on into the natural, and, well, even if BYUN survives this, yeah, and he's not going to do that either. GG. Rogue going to tie it up 1-1. BYUN does have a variety of other builds that he does like to go with those timing attacks. You know, a variety of timings with that stim, +1/+1. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do see something like that. As ladies and gentlemen, in the bottom left, it is going to be your blue Terran from Shopify Rebellion. His name is BYUN.
And hailing from Korea, playing as our red Zerg player here on the top right from Dragon Phoenix Gaming, Make some noise for Rogue. And thank you, Blue Here Critic, for the confetti in the Trovo chat. Appreciate it.
Hell yeah. Party time. Yeah. I'm excited. Oxide is, again, a larger map. The rush distance, of course, is decently short. It's not that short. I think it's probably about, like, what, 34 seconds, I think, is what the time ends up being. But it's a very wide map. You know, Oxide, it's a thick boy. It's very wide. There's a lot of, once again, open space with it. So it's a map that I definitely do feel like Zergs do like, but there's a lot of high ground that Terran can use to their advantage, especially when defending. You know, either of the fourth and fifth base that they end up taking.
Yeah, and I think Rogue is thinking the same thing, just making sure he sends his Overlord to the sides, because, you know, with a wide open map like this, proxies are much more common, so kind of making sure there's no shenanigans happening out on the outskirts of his base.
Yeah, well, that reminds me of an Innovation Armani game, where Innovation tucked his double proxy racks right behind the minerals at the high ground third. And Armani was about a pixel away from scouting it, and then moved his Overlord away, and it was very sad. It made me very, very sad watching it, but Innovation did end up taking that series. But yeah, there's a lot of really good proxy locations on this map, just because the Zerg does have to scout out so many places. You can put it at the high ground fifth here, you know, to the right side of the map. You can put it behind the third, to the left, at the top left. You can, you know, place them really anywhere. In the middle of the map is actually a decent spot, you know, right on that high ground ramp, because that's a place that usually doesn't get scouted over.
Yeah. Now, of course, in this game, there is no proxies out. BYUN has once again gone for the 1-1-1 build. And even though it's like the same setup, there is a deviation. We do see, instead of continuous Hellion production, that there is a Widow Mine, and there is no switching off of the barracks and the factory. So immediately we can see a deviation in terms of build order from the previous two games from BYUN, and we'll see how much better or how much worse this attack is going to hit Rogue here.
Yeah, I really like this build from BYUN. This is one that I think is just really fun to mix into your openings. It can get damage done. It just is a little bit of harass early on. It's 4 Marines and a Widow Mine and a Medevac. Or, I believe he'll send the 5th one with it, maybe? No, just the 4. There we go, 5th. Excuse me. And yeah, it does sometimes end up getting a lot of damage done. I don't think Rogue saw that with the Overlord. It's just a little bit of harassment option for you. And if it doesn't get anything done, it's whatever. If you save the Marines, if you save the Medevac, it doesn't end up costing you a ton, and you can get into a fairly quick third base behind it. Although it does look like... Oh, BYUN. Oh, BYUN. Never mind. He doesn't want a third base behind this. In fact, no. BYUN wants to go into double Hellion production, Cloaked Banshee, and another Hellbat timing attack.
So not quite the same, but quite a little bit similar, I guess.
Yeah, it's something that's trying to throw Rogue off. Because again, this is a map where you want to go Ling Bane. You probably don't want to go the Roaches. So opening up with this Marine and Widow Mine drop can actually kind of throw off your opponent, because they might be thinking that, oh, it's going to be, you know, bio off of this. But no, actually, BYUN is getting a substantial Hellion count. Has the armory almost done. The first Banshee will be coming across with it as well. And, well, let's look at what there is to defend already. You have a Baneling Nest coming up, but it is not done. There's only 7 Queens and 18 Zerglings, and most of those Queens, well, they are not at that third base just yet, so we'll have to see if this can get damage done. It's going to be pretty potent here. I don't think Rogue is prepared.
Yeah, you know, I would love to see maybe a Spine Crawler here at the third to help defend against this, but even if you plant it right now, it will be a bit too late. Banshee has arrived as well. Cloak is not quite done yet, but these Hellbats getting a lot of these Zerglings, and Rogue trying to micro his Queens little by little, but all these Queens are absolutely run out of energy to transfuse.
Yeah, so far a good start. We'll have to see how the splits are against the Banelings. So far, actually, very, very nice. Managing to make sure that those connections aren't as good as they usually would be, but, you know, the Banelings are kind of that hard counter to the Hellbats. They do end up cleaning it up. the Banshee as well did end up, I believe, going down. So that means that Rogue able to clean house, and BYUN once again has a very, very late third base. Has another Banshee that's going to try and harass a little bit, but it's not going to get a lot of damage done. There's already defenses in position.
All right, so after all that, whose position do you prefer to be in right now? Do you like Rogue's position where he's at, getting his fourth base, or you like BYUN's position where he's starting, where he just got his third base done?
I mean, I really don't think you can say that Rogue is in a bad spot right now. You lose 6 throws to that Banshee, and that's a bit annoying, but you already do have a worker advantage just from the fact that, well, BYUN was very committed off 2 bases, and you now see Rogue, he didn't even have to actually go into Roaches. He's going to be able to just fully transition this into Ling, Bane, Mutalisk, and, double expansion here, throwing down the macro hatchery as well. BYUN's going to need to do a lot of work to kind of make this follow-up work, and that's going to, I think, be pretty reliant on this 1-1 timing that he's going for.
Yeah, I do like what Rogue is doing, though. He is clearing up the rocks and making sure that there are more clear pathways to his opponent's base. Because after holding that Hellbat attack, I mean, I would expect that, yeah, it looks like he's throwing down the Spire, getting 11 Mutalisks. So, yeah, he might want to go for, like, Ling counterattacks while his Mutalisks are harassing, or while the army of BYUN is moving out. Now, right now, BYUN is moving out while Rogue is getting the Mutalisks, which means not a lot of gas for those Banelings, which could be a scary time. But, oh, look at this. As I was just saying, those counterattacks pulling the army of BYUN back and slowing down this push, buying him some more time to get more units out.
Yeah, it's again, the counterattacks, those are really what slows down these Terran pushes. You see BYUN had a pretty decent supply, or army supply advantage there. But now all of the Mutalisks are out. Banelings can now be produced with the additional gas that Rogue will have. Fourth base is not really going to be challenged, and reinforcements can get caught out as well. Rogue handling this pretty much as perfectly as you can.
Oh, man. This is horrible here for BYUN. No missile turrets quite yet onto the mineral line, losing so much SCVs. Oh boy.
13 going down, no missile turrets in position, 14th as well. Yeah, this is starting to look like it might snowball for Rogue, getting this much damage, and he's even going to get more. 15 SCVs. Now, BYUN did have a very healthy worker count, so it's not terrible that he does end up losing a few. He's still at 66 compared to the 70 of Rogue, and still does have this push that is going to be coming through on the other side. 3 tanks. I believe they do not have +1 attack just yet, but you do have +1/+1 on this ground army, which the same cannot be said for Rogue. So BYUN gonna see what he can do with this position, and a lot of Banelings being produced. We'll have to see how the focus fire is. The Mutalisks have come back as well, so BYUN might have to give this up. Baneling run by. Not gonna get too much done, but at the front, the push, well, that gets completely crushed.
Yeah, and the whole army of BYUN is going to get absolutely blown to smithereens, and Rogue with a solid game number 3 win there will take the series lead.
And it turns out it only took him 1 game to figure out that, oh yeah, this is how I counter Hellbat timings. Right, I forgot. Sorry. Let me get back onto it. And has been doing that ever since. Now, here's something a little bit interesting. We're not going to have an immediate expand, and this is something that Zergs have been doing a lot on Becca Industries, because they realize, I don't want this game to get to the mid-game where I haven't done any damage to the Terrans. So they go for the slightly early gas and pool. It's not, it's not going to be without an expansion. There will be a natural base, so it's not a complete 1 base all in, but this is going to be with speed to try and get some damage done to BYUN.
Yeah, and that's a great, smart choice there. Adapting to the map layout, knowing the pros and cons of this specific map. And I quite like it. I mean, these are the decisions that really kind of insinuate how good Rogue is and why he is our current Codes champion.
Yeah, and we'll see. Speed should be coming up as soon as Rogue has the minerals for it, and there we go. So this can kind of be a fake out. So for BYUN, the main thing is when the links first come across the map, you usually are just like, okay, it was an early pool. There's no gas behind it. This is just attempting to delay my command center. We'll have to see if he's ready for the speed follow-up, because that is usually indicative of Rogue gonna be a lot more aggressive with it as soon as that finishes up with 2 bases, just kind of producing links and sending them across the map, and probably if he hasn't pulled off gas, gonna be with a baneling nest as well.
Oh, yeah, actually there is still mining on the gas there, so you can definitely see some banelings coming off really soon. Oh, just he smartly does pull some guys off of gas once the Reaper does hop in here, but the 4 links across the map does slow down and kill off the CC, or not CC, the SAV building the command center. So already nice little income delay by Rogue.
Yeah, and BYUN loses the Reaper. Did delay the mining very nicely there for Rogue. Would have loved to keep that alive. However, the CC will finish up for BYUN. We're going to see if he places down that just defensive bunker. I don't think it's ever bad to get, especially if you think your opponent is going to be a little bit aggressive. These 4 lings look to push in. They'll snag an SCV, so 2 SCV kills, delay on that CC. You know, it's kind of evens out the economic disadvantage that Rogue would have from going with the early pool and gas.
Now, interestingly, Rogue has gone for Overlord speed here. I guess that's kind of explains the reason why he's continuously was mining gas after getting the link speed. So we thought it was like maybe baneling nest potentially, but in fact it is going to be for Overlord speed, making sure he gets a nice scout over his Terran opponent.
Yeah, I mean, I think there is always the possibility of a Zerg going for that. It's just a thing of, well, the Reaper goes in, he sees that Speed is researching, he gets a full scout of the natural base as well. Rogue's just like, well, I can just macro from this point, I've delayed the CC, and that's good enough for me. Now, something that is interesting here, well, I don't know if it's interesting at this point, because this is the 4th game in a row that has happened. There is the early armory. Guess what it's going to be, Snoopy? And it's not early Thors.
Oh.
And it gets scouted.
Oh, man. He is, he's gonna die with a tombstone written in his grave saying, "Lover of Hellbats."
Well, I mean, the good news is here, there's not going to be a lot of defenses ready to try and protect this 3rd base, so BYUN might be able to try and just focus it down. No, he's actually going to try and see if he can march down these queens. Unfortunately, Hellbats, well, they're not the fastest. They march very slowly, they have purpose, and they know what job they need to do, but they're not quick at it.
Now, BYUN is doing a nice job kind of protecting his medevac, and that really is what is kind of bolstering these Hellbats, giving them some extra life points. So you want to make sure not to lose that medevac there in the back. In the meantime, though, these Hellbats are going to go ahead and try to dive in onto these queens, but there's so many nice little transfuse here and there. The queen's getting some nice shots, and the majority of the Hellbats has been cleaned up.
Yep, and once again, we'll see Rogue, despite the fact that he wasn't completely prepared. Well, if you have enough queens, if you have, good enough micro, it doesn't really matter. You can still clean it up very efficiently. Now, this is actually a good position for BYUN, going to be able to trade out against the Ling Bane and make sure that, there's no chance that Rogue does try and counterattack across the map, and we'll be able to get some harassment done with it. Say, try and move on to these drone lines. With that being said, that's a nice Baneling hit, and only 1 Hellbat is left. That will be cleaned up as well. Banshee moving in, though. Does have Cloak, I believe, and should be able to get a few worker kills here. Already 5 going down. So the Banshee follow-up actually ended up doing a lot more damage than the Hellbats themselves.
Yeah. And you know what? All in all, the game has started to calm down, and we're going to head into the mid-game here. I guess some nice, decent trades, back and forth. Actually, let's go ahead and take a look at the units lost tab here. Yeah, it looks, I don't know, it kind of looks pretty even in terms of the resources lost.
But even usually is favoring the Zerg in this case. Rogue traded out 21 Lings and a Queen for all 7 of those Hellbats, the Medevac, and the 5 Marines. And then the 7 drones really came with the Banshee, which did manage to get out. So that Banshee is still going to be skirking around, seeing what it can do. actually don't think that BYUN did end up getting the cloak with it. So just did think that that was an investment that was going to be worth it in the long run. I do agree. I think the cloak was not necessary. But with BYUN going to take his third here, Rogue already saturated his natural or his third base himself. Going to be once again going into the Spire tech. And it's hard to say whether or not BYUN is in a better or even worse position to deal with the Spire tech than he was last game.
Well, at the very least, you should have those turrets here coming up pretty soon. But oh, look at here, we have a sneaky Baneling drop in preparation on the bottom side here. Let's see how many. We'll keep an eye out to see how many SCVs it can get. But in the meantime, BYUN is going to go ahead and try to push forward here.
Oh, this timing from Rogue is super good. It goes in right as he's trying to clean up the rest of the army. 10 SCVs go down. Huge hits there. Of course, BYUN was very diligent about his worker production, so he still does have 54 workers. Also has these cloaked Widow Mines because of that armory, so it's going to be a little bit annoying here for Rogue to clean up. Finally, we'll get a Spore Crawler in place, but as the reinforcements come through, you do have to be careful here as Rogue. More Marines, more Widow Mines in this push with +1/+1. Starting to look a bit dangerous because the Banelings aren't done yet. The Mutalisks actually weren't allowed to be produced because, or at least a good count of them, because Rogue needed that gas for the Banelings.
Yeah. Oh, Widow Mine almost betraying his fellow Marines there. But with the addition of the Mutalisks, BYUN will have to retreat for the time being. And Rogue, what he needed to do was just basically hold, because once he holds, he can kind of go across the map and just start harassing with the Mutalisks while those Lings and Banelings kind of stave off the Marines and kind of buy him some time. And then once the Mutalisk does enough damage at BYUN's side of the map, he can kind of retreat back home with the Mutalisks and then clean up the rest of BYUN's forces.
Yeah, absolutely. BYUN is going to stim on in here. He does have a larger army than his opponent, but of course you do have to consider the fact that Banelings, well, they do trade out pretty well if the Terran is not paying attention. These Widow Mines could be dangerous, though. Good focus fire. Rogue has built up enough of a Mutalisk flock that he can start to one-shot those now. And as BYUN is getting up his fourth place, 2-2 on the way with the, to kind of bolster this Bioforce, you are kind of going to start to worry about the transition, because Rogue right now is in a very comfortable spot, getting +1 for his Ling Bane, getting the +1 attack for his Mutalisk as well, and currently sitting on 4 bases with a 5th already established and a 6th coming up.
Oh my, Rogue is just macroing like a madman, getting bases after bases. He's ahead by against the Terran by several bases actually, and so yeah, he can afford to just stack some hatcheries if need be. But boy, this counterattack doing a nice significant damage here. And this will pull back some of BYUN's forces. The rest of BYUN's army is open and undefended against these Banelings, but nice little kiting and split there does save some of the Marines there.
Yeah, that's pretty much as well as BYUN wanted to handle that. Oh, BYUN not in position to repair the turret. Gets there not in time to finish it off or to keep it alive. 11 SCVs do end up going down to this Mutalisk harass. BYUN does have a Thor out, but it is not in a good position. All of the reinforcements are getting picked off that are being produced out of these barracks, and this is usually why you want to see Terrans build, maybe two missile turrets per base would be nice. That's usually, safer than just the single one, because it can be focused down when you do get to these larger Mutalisk flocks. Sitting around 17 right now is Rogue.
Yeah, that is a lot of Mutalisks. Not only does he have 17 Mutalisks, but also 19 Banelings here. I still feel like he might want to add a bit more Banelings. There we go. He does morph in additional Banelings. But it is still a scary force here for BYUN. I mean, look at this. He's at 2-2 on those infantry units versus the 1-1 of Rogue, and the 2-2 of Rogue is like quite far away from being done. So it's going to be a period of time where BYUN is going to have some nice beefed up infantry bio units.
Yeah, first though, he needs to defend this push here. The splits are starting off as well. Thors can absorb a lot of the hits from the Banelings, but the CC does go down. And that was all that Rogue wanted. He wanted to kill that command center and then get on out. Because right now, Rogue, he is on 5 bases to the 3 of his Terran opponent. And you're looking at this for BYUN, you're saying, well, what's the next step here? It does have 2 Thors out, but I don't believe they have any attack upgrades. Of course, if you have that +2 on Thors, well, they 2-shot the Mutalisks. 2 of them will just blow up a clumped flock. Oh, and oh, this is a bunch of SCVs that you don't want to lose. Luckily, BYUN's army was in place, but, you know, BYUN, he's only getting into his 3-3, and, well, that's going to be nice for the timing attack. It's just a question of, will you really have the time to get into it? Because right now, these Mutalisks are just running absolutely wild on every single base of BYUN.
This is pretty good for Rogue, getting on top of the production buildings, picking off all these add-ons here. But again, I'm still a little bit worried here for Rogue, because that upgrade, that 3-3 upgrade from BYUN, is like almost in the same time as when Rogue is getting that 2-2. So, I mean, once they go head to head, I mean, BYUN with his superior micro and splitting with his superior upgrades, that could be quite dangerous for our red Zerg here.
Yeah, and mind you, he does have 3 Thors now on the field with a 4th in production. That means that, well, even without that +1 or +2, those Mutalisks are still going to die. It takes 1 shot from all those Thors, 1 volley to clean it up, but 8 workers going down to a Baneling run by BYUN. He's going to try and hit this 3-3 timing. This is the hope for him. He needs to win the game with this, because other than that, Rogue's economy is too large. Speed Banelings are quite a thing to behold. Thor getting picked up and moved to the back and repaired. There's not a lot of Widow Mines here for BYUN. And you see the Mutalisks, they're just diving on in. Actually can't get through that turret, so BYUN is going to be allowed to maneuver around again, but look how many Banelings there are. This is just absolutely killer. So many of them. BYUN has to pick up. Does actually manage to get some decent trades there. You know, a lot of Banelings going off on one of the Thors, but there's so much more Ling Bane that's going to be available. BYUN's whole army isn't even here. Doesn't even pick up all of it, and it gets blown up. The Mutalisks finally able to dive in on that 3rd base, kill off the missile turrets, kill off the workers. And it does feel like Rogue, on the most Terran-favored map in the pool, should be able to get a victory.
Oh, yeah. I mean, man, 29 SCVs going down. I mean, I feel like the momentum has started swinging towards Rogue here. And really, all you need to do is not, just keep throwing away his units, but make sure that, he can kind of defend back at home. And with these group of Banelings, he might be able to. BYUN not quite focused yet on his force yet, as he's trying to still defend back at home. But here we go. Nice split, pre-split by BYUN. Rogue going to go ahead and regroup his forces and dive in here. Can he clean this up?
Yeah, BYUN's saying, listen, you threw absolutely everything at me there, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to counterattack. I believe you do not have enough at home to defend. There are a lot more Widow Mines now available, whereas the Thor, it did get cleaned up there in that initial engage. Widow Mine does just soak up some Baneling hits, and you're starting to see here, Rogue, a lot more Banelings in production. Again, needs to trade well. BYUN needs to split this perfectly, is so far doing a great job, but there's just so much more Zerg in reserve.
Yeah. Now, the good thing for Rogue is that the Medivacs energy has been drained out, so not a lot of health left for these bio units. So BYUN's got to be careful not to overstim here. But I mean, this might be, because like right now he is down by 40 workers. This might be his kind of timing to change, to swing this game around. Because if this is going to the long game, I'm not sure that's going to favor BYUN.
Yeah, I mean, I think the timing was right there, but BYUN actually does back up, and he realizes that the army is going to be able to rebuild. GG's out. 3-1 is the scoreline now. BYUN, or Rogue, picking up quite a good, decent advantage. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we are on to 2,000 atmospheres, and this man, well, he's down 2 games, and if he doesn't win this, Rogue is going to be on match point. From Shopify Rebellion, it's BYUN.
And spawning here at the bottom left corner of the map, he's our red Zerg player. Let me go ahead and channel my inner Paul Heyman for all you WWE fans. Is the reigning, defending GSL Codex champion. He is Rogue.
Oh, that was beautiful.
Thank you.
I think that was even better than if it was actually him in the flesh. I think that was better. Oh my god. Oh, Rogue. Okay, I was gonna say if Rogue is taking an early third, this could be disastrous. Now Rogue is scouting out, and well, BYUN. What is this 2-Rax position, BYUN? What is this? Did you think this wouldn't get scouted? Think, BYUN. Think. It's right by a Zelnaga watchtower.
Poor SCVs here. Oh man. But hey, you know what? He actually finishes it, so not too bad. But he does suffer some damage on the SCVs, which means that, oh my god, more drones. Never mind.
BYUN brings an SCV just to finish the barracks and retreats the other 2 damaged ones so he can finish them all. Oh, what a play. BYUN also is going to build a Reaper right out of it, so that's a very good call. Getting a Reaper out so you can micro against the drones that are produced because, well, Marines can't. Marines kind of get chewed up by drones, as you see Rogue there. Does just bring a few off of his mineral line in order to deal with it. This, of course, is worth it, or else Zergs wouldn't do it. But, yeah, this got completely shut down. Very well done by Rogue. Not sure what that 3-Rax positioning is. You know, I'm much more of a fan of, you know, placing it somewhere just in the center of the map. Just a random spot. It's a lot harder to scout, but BYUN gets the Reaper out. We'll be floating those back home, and, well, off of this, it's going to be a slightly delayed 2-1-1 build coming out from BYUN.
Yeah. Now, the good thing about the 2-Rax proxy is that even if it does get shut down, it's not quite the end of the world. You can still kind of transition out of it, but it does kind of give a lot of leeway for the Zerg to do a lot of things, like get the quicker third, maybe, you know, start spreading the creep, droning up like a madman. So right now, Rogue, you know, he has like not a lot of worries in the world. Like, he's not worried about any like mass Hellions coming or Hellbats coming. He can
He's not worried about another Hellbat timing attack.
Exactly. Yeah, so, you know, he knows that the tech of BYUN is going to be slowed down significantly. Like, there is not, the Banshee timing isn't going to come at the normal timing. It's going to be a little bit later if BYUN decides to go for that.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. So, BYUN, well, I did say this was going to be slightly delayed. 2-1-1. I believe this is slightly different, though. This should be Stim. Nope, never mind. It's going to be... Why did I doubt it, Snoopy? Why did I doubt it that BYUN would find a way to transition a failed proxy 2-Rax into a Hellbat timing attack? Why did I think that he couldn't do that? He's BYUN.
I know, right?
Of course he's going to.
Doubt the man.
Oh my, this is gonna be something. You have a few Lings here managing to kill off 4 SCVs, 5 going down in total. That's actually pretty disastrous there for BYUN. But that being said, oh, never mind, it's not Hellbats?
Yeah, it doesn't look like the army is quite on the way, so I mean it's understandable. I mean, his proxy kind of derailed the plans a little bit, so I think he's going to just go ahead and commit to Hellbats with the Banshees and just kind of leave out the Hellbat push there.
But he's still getting the reactor on the factory. What is this? BYUN's a madman. He's gone insane. I'm very confused, but I am willing to accept that BYUN knows what he's doing. So, okay. BYUN's just making add-ons with this factory. Okay. This is going to be, you know, a Stim follow-up. There is going to be plenty of units to kind of, you know, come across with some sort of a timing attack. Rogue, on the other hand, says, well, there's no harm, no foul. I kind of saw what you're doing. I don't really understand it, but I know there's Cloak Banshees, so I'm just going to drone up and build some Queens.
Yeah, I mean, Rogue just sitting really pretty. I mean, 51, no, let's make it 55 workers to 38 of BYUN. He's got his third about to be saturated. Looks like he's actually getting all the gases, it seems like. Yeah, he's getting all 6 gases, which tells me that it's very likely that a spire. Okay, yeah, the spire with the Mutalisk play is on the way, and we have seen in the past games here how good Rogue can control those Mutalisks and how far he can kind of get ahead with all the harassments.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really not sure what the plan is here going to be for BYUN. He does have a decently large army at this point going into tanks. Has 3 Marines producing at a time. Should eventually start up those medevacs. But you really do have to worry because Rogue is in just such a good spot. Has a nice amount of workers. And already has centrifugal hooks on the way. The Spire will be, almost finished up by the time this push comes. And, well, it's not going to be with 1-1. This is just going to be with Stimpack if BYUN decides to push out now, which, I mean, almost feels like it's his best shot.
Yeah, I mean, the kind of the strength of BYUN is that he kind of goes super aggressive and starts like maybe dropping here and there, attacking left and right. The problem, though, is that Rogue has gone for the exact army composition that really is good and ideal in dealing with that, because Ling, Baneling, and Mutalisk are mobile themselves, so he can kind of go to the left and right pretty quickly. And so I'm a little worried here for BYUN. I mean, he is going to have to really get the engagement of his life and kind of try to snowball to a situation where, even if Rogue is ahead economically, he can't rally his units quite quick enough, or at least remake them. But here we go. Mutalisk gonna go ahead and start getting on top of the mineral line here, and BYUN's army is completely out of position.
Yeah, this is rough. This is really rough if you are BYUN. You don't have enough reinforcements coming out to really deal with Mutalisk. That means you just have to push in the front. You can't afford to try and go back and defend. Already 12 workers going down. Now, Stim is finished. There's +1 on the way, so, there should be plenty of ability for BYUN to do some work with this. Now, the Banshee, it's just going to get picked off, and that could have been very useful. Let's see how the focus fire is here onto the Banelings. There's so many of them, and, well, BYUN, I don't care how good your micro is. It's not enough. You just have to pick up, get out, and it's not exactly what you wanted to do.
And once again, or I guess I shouldn't say once again, because I guess the Hellbats weren't made, but once again, Rogue does take another game, and he is going to put himself at match point.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the bottom right of Romanticide. He's got to win this game, or it is done and dusted. It's BYUN.
And spawning here at the top left. Going for a nice, quick spawning pool. He's looking to close out the series from Dragon Phoenix Gaming. Give it up for Rogue.
All right, Rogue. Early pool, no gas, of course, means that it's not going to be a committed all-in. It's just 4 Lings that are going to go across the map, try and be a little bit sneaky, try and slow down that command center if possible, which usually they are able to do, but don't get much more damage than that.
Now, sorry, go ahead. Sorry, go.
No, you go. You go.
I was just wondering, like, BYUN has gone for a lot of these, Hellion, Hellbat kind of openings. You think he should, like, try to switch it up or something? Or just go for his, like, his most comfortable
one. Listen to yourself, Snoopy. Listen to yourself. What are you saying? You think BYUN should not go a Hellbat timing attack on game 6?
Yeah. What was I thinking, man? It's like...
Yeah, I know. What were you thinking, I think? I mean, I think that yes, but I also do believe that BYUN's going to maybe go for it again. Nice thing is, this is a really hard map to do a Hellbat timing on, so maybe that will dissuade him from going for that build, because that third base is really hard to attack.
Yeah, maybe he just go for, like, I don't know, like, just Battlecruiser Rush or something. Although I guess Zergs are right now kind of pretty... They kind of can defend that pretty easily, especially since they're going for a lot of Queens as of late. But...
My personal favorite version of the Hellbat Rush is the one with Battlecruisers. So, if I saw that in a pro match, that would make my that I would be so happy. I would be able to retire and know that my dreams have come true, and I saw a Hellbat battle cruiser timing attack. But I don't think that's gonna happen. You don't see a lot of those coming out from pro players.
Yeah. Now, maybe because I have seen BYUN go for this. Like he's in the past he went for like the 2-1-1 build where you get the 2 medevacs full of Marines and go for a stim timing. That's kind of more of a I guess like older school build. But it can still work from time to time, and BYUN is one of the few Terran players that I've seen like gone to that build a number of times, and I would love to see him kind of bring it back. If he can kind of win this game 6 and push it to a game 7, maybe he can kind of surprise his opponent with that build and kind of catch Rogue off guard there.
Yeah, and we do see a bit of variance. There is the medevac, no immediate Banshee, so that means that BYUN is going to be going for a Hellion drop. Well, he also does poke the front with this Reaper and Hellion. Tries to see where the creep spread is at and see what units are available for his opponent. And I do like this. Okay, never mind, Snoopy again. I thought it was just gonna be a regular Hellion drop, but no, it's gonna be a Hellbat drop. He's gonna drop the 4 Hellions into the main and then transform them into Hellbats and walk them into the mineral line because, I mean, he's mixing it up. You can't say he isn't mixing it up.
The definition of insanity is doing something that keeps failing over and over again, and I think BYUN might be going into the insane route. We might have to check him into a psychiatric hospital.
Yeah, okay. So this is slightly different. It's not going to be the Hellion drop. No, it's going to be a slightly different version. I do like this build where you just go for Hellions to poke at the front. Usually I like this against Protoss. And then you have the 5 or 4 Marines that you can kind of do anything with. But no, I'm just saying, listen, I'm going to make it work once more. And if not, then, well, who am I? What am I worth? And, well, there's not a lot here to defend. There's only 13 Lings, and most of those just get immediately roasted up. And now it's on top of the Queen. Can BYUN make it work for, the 5th time that he has tried it? Can he do what he did in game 1? Well, there's a lot of Queens already getting picked off. The Zerglings coming out one by one, not able to really damage the Hellbats. But that being said, Hellbats just going to push up on into the main. They can't really afford to try and fight the Queens. They are a bit too powerful. There's the immediate drone pull, however, and BYUN just going to pick up with that medevac and just kind of tuck it right here behind the base.
Oh, that medevac is so close to death there. But the onslaught is still ongoing here. More Hellions being rallied here. Cloak is about to finish. That Banshee can maybe do some nice cleanup here. But there are support crawlers across every base. And yeah, oh, even losing that medevac. Yeah, the steam of this push is slowly dying.
Yep, it looked like it started out well, but there was not enough reinforcements to really make it work. Rogue had enough high health Queens with enough energy to transfuse. That meant that BYUN could not dive on top of them. With that being said, the transition as well is going to be slightly different, though. This is going to be a 3rd base from BYUN, but this should be a very committed timing attack. +1/+1 is on the way, Stim is on the way, and there's going to be a total of 6 barracks. So this follow-up, usually BYUN has been doing follow-ups, and it's usually been 3 racks, with the +1/+1 into 5 racks on the 3 bases. No, this time it's going to be a bit more committed. There's going to be a lot more units available for BYUN, and as well, should be getting Widow Mines as well to bolster it.
Alright, so looks like Rogue is going to go ahead and start once again getting those Mutalisks, and we know and we've seen how annoying those Mutalisks has been for BYUN. Now, the thing that I'm liking from BYUN is that he's immediately throwing down the turrets. I think he has kind of either he scouted it or he has a kind of a gut feeling. Oh wait, where's that? Okay, there we go, the Banshees.
Yeah, that micro is actually quite nice. 7 drones end up going down, and it's only the low health Banshee that does end up getting picked off. So BYUN actually gets some good damage there. Now you do see there's actually 2 Spore Crawlers in each base. So Rogue, or in that main base, Rogue very prepared, and 9 drones in total going down is worth it for BYUN. But now you have to worry about these Mutalisks Missile turret is in position. It doesn't cover the whole mineral line, however, just the gas. Marine's going to be stimmed back to see if they can deal with this. The bunker is up, though, and yeah, Rogue not going to be able to get too much damage immediately done with these Mutalisks, which is definitely the best that BYUN has done at holding so far this game.
Yeah, he hasn't quite lost a lot compared to the previous games. Now he does, BYUN does have a force here out in the middle, but with the Mutalisk, he doesn't feel quite confident enough to dive in here. And I would say that's probably the smarter move, because that just on the bird's eye view of that mini map doesn't look like a large army force there. So might want to go ahead and just like retreat back, get that shield combat shield upgrade, and then move out once again.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be, I think BYUN is going to be prepping. He's going to try and hit it 1-1 here. Has as well a Widowmine drop loaded up, so he can distract on multiple fronts. But then after that, it's going to be a 2-2 follow-up as well. And BYUN, oh my god, is going to 3 factory?
What?
6 racks, 5 racks, 3 factory. This is cool.
Huh. Maybe he wants some extra tanks or something? Or does he want like a mass Widow Mines, you think?
I'm not sure, but oh no, the Mutalisk focusing down the upgrade, and the SCVs can't repair it. That's, you know, the +2 armor getting denied is absolutely huge, but here comes the push onto the 4th or onto the 5th base. That's going to be a very easy cancel. Rogue not really caring too much. He has another base up anyway, but this push should be decently dangerous. There's not a lot of Banelings and Lings here to really stop it, and Rogue is still pushing on the other side of the map. This is a very large Mutalisk flock. I mean, it's actually massive. It's going to be 12 Mutalisks. They're going to be able to clean up the Marines, but on the other side, well, that's going to be Rogue's upgrades also getting denied. Queens are here, but well, Queens, you don't do good against +1 bio. It will absolutely shred through you. There's only 5 Banelings. Splits are good, and BYUN going to be able to continue to push with the small bio force, and it pulls the Mutalisk back.
Oh yeah, things are looking much better here for BYUN. That Widowmine getting a nice, decent hit on those group of Banelings. Thor's on the way as well, but it's not quite there yet with the rest of the army. The Mutalisks are going to get on top of him, but are they holding? Oh my god, they're actually holding pretty decently, but it's just too much Queens and a Mutalisk underneath there will clean up the rest. But I would say that actually that went pretty well for BYUN, all in all.
Yeah, no, there was also a Widowmine drop that we saw BYUN had loaded up earlier that went into the natural base, got 15 drones, and that pretty much, that pretty much means that Rogue essentially only got 5 SCVs with that Mutalisk push, because he killed 20, gets 15 drones lost on his own side, and they're essentially back to even. You have that +2 attack finishing up +2 armor. It's not going to be done just yet. Of course, it did be canceled, but now BYUN is going to be building Thors. He has those 3 factories available. Not sure what add-on he's going to put onto that second one. I imagine it would be the tech lab for 2 Thors at a time. But that bio traded out so well, and it was also a Widowmine shot that landed onto the Mutalisk that allowed him to trade out so well there. It weakened up a lot of them, and he also canceled Rogue's +1/+1.
Oh yeah, that is huge, because even though the Mutalisk did, cancel one of the upgrades, getting kind of trading with the evolution chamber there does help out. And BYUN is going to enjoy a 2-1 upgrade lead for quite some time. Actually, the +1 armor of Zerg is just about done, but BYUN is knocking at the front door here.
Yeah, this is a very strong bio. It's going to really start to shred through those Lings. Rogue is just going to go for the counterattack, though. He says, listen, I don't want to face this army head-on. I don't believe that I have really the standing power to. This Widowmine, very nice, gets a huge hit on some of the Lings. But now BYUN has to worry about this follow-up. Has barracks building out here by his 3rd base, which is actually nice because it will allow him to burrow. Oh, Rogue doesn't focus down. The Widowmine loses a lot of health on his Mutalisks, and also the missile turret being left alive for a while means that it does get a lot of damage. That's 10, 11. And should be 12 SCVs going down. BYUN is committing to the push on the other side. He's going to kill the 4th base from Rogue. There's 11 workers, but manages to wipe out the base while his is still standing.
Oh, huge Link counterattack. However, is it enough to clean up the forest? It looks like reinforcements are going to go ahead and try to save this. This is going to be a really important dirt here for BYUN. He needs to establish this if he has any chance. But oh boy, 19 workers going down here for our blue Terran, and Rogue can just pretty sit back and just kind of mass up more Lings and Banelings. But still, that is a large group of Marines here with, again, two upgrades, a +2 armor just finished for BYUN. And so, I mean, you know, even though there's a lot of economic damage, it's still not over. I think BYUN still has a shot.
Yeah, and there's now 3 Thors out, and you see how low these Mutalisks are. They just cannot stand against the Thors. BYUN establishes its 4th base, is going to have a planetary area, is going to get up the missile turrets there, and while he did take a lot of worker damage, again, BYUN didn't lose the base, and that's the biggest thing. He still has the mules available for it. He's going to be able to once again cancel his 5th base from Rogue, who's only just now established his 4th as well in that bottom right, or in that bottom left. BYUN, this is looking like the best chance he's had past the mid game in any of these matches, and this is even, you know, maybe BYUN does know how to do the Hellbat push and transition it out, because I'll be honest, this has been handled very well.
Yeah. Now, I would still favor Rogue's position because, you know, he has a lot more bases. He still has a lot more workers. But, I mean, BYUN still has a chance here if he can kind of get the engagement, the right engagement, and split really well against these Banelings. I mean, the doors can really, you know, demolish these Mutalisks, and, you know, then the Marines can kind of clean up the rest. So, I feel like it's still going to come down to that big engagement.
Yeah, I mean, with 3 Thors, just one volley of them onto a clump of mutas can get so much damage done. And once again, it's going to be Rogue going for a counterattack. So that means that BYUN, he just commits to the base. He's going to try and clean up 2 bases here, and he should absolutely be able to. Because look at this, it's going to be Rogue trying to commit into the planetary. And you know what? Committing to the planetary is good, but that's a lot of Banelings that Rogue just used. Does he then have enough to defend on the other end?
Yeah, that is the question, and he's going to definitely need to do so because, I mean, the majority of BYUN's army is in those Marines. And, yeah, I'm not sure if he has enough gas for it. Right now, he has a lot of minerals, but... Oh, actually, never mind. He has little minerals, but a lot of gas, so maybe he can actually morph in a good amount of Banelings. But in the meantime, these Mutalisks, these Mutmuts, are still being so annoying here on the natural of BYUN. And at this point, BYUN might just go for an all-in. I mean, there's really not a lot of fallback. He doesn't have like a great transition out of this, and he doesn't have an economy to fall back on, and he has no economies to speak of in terms of minerals.
Yeah, 28 workers right now for BYUN. The Mutalisks have been doing so much damage to him. But you can't underestimate how big this army is for BYUN. The army at the front in a straight-up fight, well, that Ling Bane, it does not beat it. And as well, he has enough back at home to defend against this massive Mutalisk flock, totaling now at 22 Mutmuts. And also look at that upgrade disparity. It's +2/+2 versus +1. The splits are good from BYUN. That's all of the Banelings going down. There's only about 7, maybe 10, 12 more here for Rogue to try and defend, but this bio just trades too well. They have +3 as well, so they absolutely shred through the Lings. Queen's gonna get killed, and I think BYUN has done it. I think the Mutalisks, they weren't able to get enough damage on the other end. They weren't able to kill off BYUN. And that means that here at the front, we'll have to see how he does. Banelings rolling in, Marines pulling back, seeing what they can do. Splits are good. And those Mutalisks, they're getting so much damage done against them by the Thors, but they will be able to clean it up.
Oh yeah, but look at this. A huge army here coming from BYUN. The rest of the reinforcements coming to kill and put the checkmate on Rogue. And right now, Rogue is trying to fall back, trying to get more Mutalisks. I think he might be going for a base trade, and really, at this point, that might not be the worst decision, because I don't see him, cleaning up or facing well, faring well, head-to-head, 1-to-1, kind of engagement here. And, even pulling the drones. I mean, I guess desperate times call for desperate measures, and I think BYUN has done it. He is going to stay alive, and he will take the game.
All right, listen, BYUN. Blackburn is not a good map for Hellbat pushes. Do not go Hellbats on Blackburn. It is way too easy to defend them. There's so much open area as well. It just means that, well, even with Zerglings, you can get a pretty nasty surround, and with the Queens can end up cleaning them. So I do hope that BYUN doesn't go the Hellbats, but with that being said, it's BYUN. And right now, it seems like he's saying, I don't want to show too many builds, so I'm just going to go with Hellbats.
Well, I do see something that is quite different from the previous game is that BYUN went for CC first, before the barracks, or before anything. Or I guess after the supply depot, but yeah, before the barracks and the gas, he went for CC first. A little bit of a risk, and I quite like it. I mean, he knows that Rogue is not let's say a really cheesy player. Like, he's not expecting like a 12 pull or anything coming from Rogue, and I think BYUN is gonna get away with this.
Yeah. Rogue has shown that he doesn't really go for any early pressure. The earliest pressure that he goes for is those 4 slow lings at the beginning of the game. And BYUN just says, well, if you do that, guess what? The CC is going to be pretty much almost done by the time they would come across. And he's absolutely right. I do like the CC first here, though, from BYUN. And we'll see what the transition is. Maybe he went the CC first to fake Rogue into thinking that he's going to go into a macro game. And then he says, no, actually, it's going to be more Hellbats. But, oh, Rogue, he's going to get aggressive.
Yeah, he had a nice overall scout, and he recognized the timing of the barracks was kind of late, and he realized, yep, BYUN went for a CC first, and I'm going to punish it by going for some roaches, a roach rush, I guess, roach push. And if BYUN does not scout this anytime soon, this is going to get absolutely ugly.
Yeah, I mean, I hope, for the sake of BYUN, I hope that this is a tech lab that immediately goes down onto that factory. He's going to see the first lings coming through to slow down that bunker and get a cancel. The Marines coming out, though, should be able to deal with this. The question is he going to be ready for the fault? That is 8 roaches already on the way. They're going to be going across the map. Now, BYUN, because he went for the CC first, did not have a Reaper to scout out across the map, so he does not know that there is no third base, and that is absolutely massive. But it is a tech lab onto the factory.
Oh, man, I'm not sure if he's going to have enough time to get that Banshee out, though. It's going to be close. Actually, maybe there's some time being bought if he can kind of morph in those roaches into Ravagers. That could, buy BYUN some time, but oh, man, this bunker, it's going to finish just...
Get up!
Get in there, get in there!
The bunker is up. Repair coming through means the bunker won't go down. BYUN able to start off well, but here comes the follow-up, though. It's going to be Ravagers, it's going to be Lings. The full wall comes through. Cyclone on the way. I would love to see a tank added on after this. Usually, if you go the CC first, I really like having the tank being built as your first option, but there's the Corrosive Biles. Repairs coming through, but the Focus Fire onto the SCV. Cyclone locking onto the Ravagers. That's absolutely what you need to eliminate. The bunker holds for as long as it can, and it actually eliminates all of the Lings that were there, but now you have to deal with the follow-up. More Lings are going to be coming across the map. Cyclone locks onto a low health target, but there is now a medevac here to try and micro. BYUN has to hold on here with 2 Cyclones, and that's about it. Does manage to lift the wall once again, though, so it's just going to be him having to deal with these Lings. And, well, the SCVs and the few Marines coming out should be able to do that. And if you survive this push, mind you, you are in such a great spot. It doesn't matter if you lose a few workers. I mean, 10 workers go down. Well, BYUN, he's only 1 behind still. And he lifts off the base. It's just Lings. The Marines and the Cyclones and the SCVs should be able to push this back, and BYUN survives.
Oh my goodness. We're about to have I guess like a 4 game in a row win here by BYUN. I mean, he is making a fight out of this. He's not ready to lose, and by golly, he is in such a great position in this game, Game 7, to really, put it into 1 more point closer to Rogue. And yeah, I am liking BYUN's position, and if you're a BYUN fan, I'm saying you're feeling pretty happy and satisfied about that hold.
Absolutely, that's about as good as it can happen. And now BYUN, well, he's only down, what, 3 workers? Okay, you'll take that. Now Cyclone's going to be harassing. How often do you see this? Cyclone's coming across that. Well, he can do this because what is there? Lings? Okay. Queens, those also get killed by Cyclones, and there is a medevac here as well to micro. You just see the Queens trying to dive on top of the medevac, but they just take so much damage. BYUN should be able to pick it up, and oh, this is really dangerous. 14 health, gets away, no problem. BYUN says, listen, I'm an ace pilot, don't worry about it.
Ooh, but that's pretty close. Not gonna lie, but I like it. 2 Cyclone drop. I mean, might as well get fancy because, right now, BYUN is so far ahead. Workers might be a little bit deceiving, but gotta remember, that dirt base of Rogue, so late. And right now, BYUN's dirt is pretty much almost, or I guess like about a third done, and he will be able to start milling off of that. And you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if BYUN just go once again dive in there with the Medevac and Cyclone and harass some more. Because what is there to really snipe it off? Only Queens, not a lot of anti-air to snipe off that Medevac.
Yeah, no, and the Queens can get focused down by the Cyclones as well. You see just BYUN repairs it all up and is going to head across the map once again. I really love this. You see 2 drones going down. Guess what? There's also Cloaked Banshees. BYUN saying, listen, Rogue, you tried to kill me early and now you're going to pay the price. I have all of the tech on my side. It's Cloaked Banshees. It's a Cyclone. You know, Cyclones to pick off Overlords as well. This is... I'm really loving how BYUN is actually handling this, because behind this, mind you, as you said, he's getting up that third base, going into tanks, going into a stim, +1/+1. Everything's proceeding as normal, but just using these early units that he got to defend that rush to their fullest to try and get as much damage as possible. And now these Queens might be under fire, and if these Queens go down, that's going to be absolutely massive. One already falling, the second one as well. Medevac has to pull back because he's low on health, but the Cyclones are still alive, and the Cyclones can get picked up after picking off all of the Lings.
Oh my goodness, talk about efficiency. I mean, to the reddest of life between the Cyclone and the Medevac, gets out there just in the nick of time and loses absolutely no units during that engagement.
This is so sick right now from BYUN. And mind you, the follow-up as well is also going to be pretty strong. It's going to be +1/+1. It's going to be stim. It's a whole lot of tanks, a whole lot of bio. And what is there for Rogue? What tech is there? There's not a lot. He had to use so much gas early on, you know, just to get into the Roaches, and he's going to try and go that for the defense. But Roaches do not trade well against... Well, what units do Roaches not trade well against, Snoopy?
Well, tanks, Marauders.
Say like Banshees.
Banshees,
yeah, Banshees. Maybe Cyclones too.
Battle
what does BYUN have? Oh, BYUN has tanks, Banshees, and Cyclones. Yeah, this. I don't know if the Roach defense is going to work. BYUN is going to have a killer push here, and he might even wait for 2-2 to push out, because let's be honest, because at this point BYUN, you know, does recognize, listen, my third base is not that far behind the, you know, the Zergs, and I can just wait, but I would love to see him push out with this force right now.
Yeah, same here. Oh, just lose a Banshee there. But again, not the end of the world. He's still got plenty of tanks and Marines there. Now, you gotta ask, what is Rogue, or what Rogue can possibly do to kind of crawl himself back into this game? It looks like he's going for an infestation pit. So maybe lurkers or some sort, or do you think this is for something else?
I think this might just be for infestors, you know. I think Rogue, when he is this far behind, a strategy that is very good is just going Infestor Ravager, because you can just get the value out of those corrosive biles a lot more than without them. So I think that is kind of what Rogue is thinking here. But no, there's the Hydro's Den. So yeah, it's going to be Roach Hydra Lurker.
Yeah, now the problem is, does BYUN let him reach the point where, you know, there's the optimal amount of lurkers in which BYUN is going to make it really hard and difficult for BYUN to push in? That is going to be quite the, I guess, at the time, because, you know, it takes a long time for it to get the hive and then into you know, the lurker upgrade. But if he can kind of maybe make enough lurkers to buy him some additional time to get to that stage, maybe you know, just you know, forego the lurker upgrade and just make enough lurkers to survive, then possibly he can make a game out of this. But it looks like BYUN is looking to attack pretty soon here.
Yeah, I mean, has the 2-2 on the way, and this is a massive Terran force. It's 4 tanks, a whole lot of Marines, and, well, when 2-2 finishes, it's going to trade extremely well. Now, BYUN has done Rogue has done a very good job of getting up his upgrades and building a very strong force. Mind you, he has the gold base to bolster that as well. But BYUN is kind of committing, you know, really hard to this pressure. There's no 4th base that is coming up just yet. I would love to see him place that down on location, just because he has enough minerals for it. We'll have to see if, you know, Rogue can defend this. Has a lot of Roach Ravager, and of course Roach Ravager, you know, it does kind of inflate your supply a little bit because it's not efficient. It does not trade well when it comes to these maxed out armies. So, you know, that supply can be a bit deceiving. If it's even, well, that's worrisome for the Zerg because, well, the bio just trades a whole lot better.
Yeah, Boy, Rogue really needs to hold on to this gold base. If he lets BYUN get on top of this gold base, that is going to make it extremely difficult for him to expand. I mean, that means BYUN will have rain onto the top side. The only way will be into the bottom of the triangular base, but that's so close to BYUN's base. But I'm not even sure that even matters, because BYUN is going to go ahead and stem the rest of his Marines and get the rest of these Ravagers. He has more than enough with the 2-2 upgrades, and BYUN, he's making a series out of this. He reaches to 3 points.
And we do see here BYUN once again is going to switch it up. So BYUN has decided, finally, after 7 games of Hellbats, he's like, listen, I understand. It can't work. I get it now. And he's going to go for a 2-1-1.
Oh man, I absolutely love this. I mean, if there was a game to do so, to make sure you at least push it to a final game number 9. I mean, this is not a bad map, as well as not a bad situation to do so. And yeah, it looks like the factory is coming down. We're gonna have ourselves a 2-1-1, and let's see how well it deals damage on the other side of the map.
Yeah, interestingly enough, BYUN did not opt for the Reaper with it. Just went for straight Marines. So it doesn't have that early scouting, but I think that's just because he assumes he kind of even knows what Rogue is going to do. He knows there's going to be no early pressure, since that Roach attack didn't work out so well. And actually, funnily enough, the 2-1-1 is actually extremely good against those Roach timings, because you have stim Marines out by the time that it does hit. So BYUN, we'll have to see how much damage he can end up getting done with this 2-1-1. But I also kind of like how BYUN was just kind of like, he's like trained Rogue for the past 7 games to be like, all right, scout for the Hellbat all in. Scout for the Hellbat timing attack. When are the Hellbats going to come and hit you? And now he's just mixing it up and going for whatever build. And going for, the build that he feels is best game to game. But this can get some damage done. Of course, it all depends on the micro, how many queens there are out at the time and how many lings there are. But usually the 2-1-1 at the very least is able to clear up creep. It's able to keep the Zerg from really pushing across the map as well.
Yeah, and what's really significant here is that Rogue has, or not Rogue, BYUN has prevented the scout. He killed the scouting ling with 1 or 2 Marines, so then reveal his hand. And also, there's no Overlord speed here coming from Rogue, so, and with these parked Marines, I don't quite see him scouting that this is coming. He's going to be in the dark here, and that is the best case scenario you want your Zerg to be in, where he's like wondering what build you're going for, and you just catch him by surprise.
Yeah, absolutely. Rogue has no information. You see, especially that's why there are so many scouting lings out. You see 3 just patrolling, trying to see when the push out comes, what it's going to be, and luckily one of them will be able to see that it is a whole bunch of Marines that are pushing out. Not sure if he'll be ready though for the 2 medevacs and the and the micro that can come off the back of it. And also the next question is to see what is the transition going to be, because there's kind of 2 ways you can do it. The way that TY popularized was actually going immediately into the tanks and having kind of this like 3 tank follow-up, where you would then attack with 3 racks, 3 production, 3 tanks, and a bunch of medevacs. But you can also just expand off it. Now, it does look like BYUN is going for the earlier of those, as Marine's going to try and stim on in. Medevacs are now here. One of them gets picked off, but now you can start to stim down the Zerglings, start to stim down the Queens as well, and pick off creep tumors, but BYUN going to bide his time.
Yeah, but he doesn't want to, just kind of just retreat back home. I think he wants to get at least some additional damage done, because this is the build where if you don't get any significant damage, I mean, it can kind of set you quite behind a little bit. Your tech is not as the greatest. Your dirt base is a little bit delayed here, and so yeah, I feel like he's giving Rogue a bit more time than he should. But let's see if he can kind of micro his way to a point where he can make this a value trade.
Yeah, I think just recognizing that Rogue does have enough defenses available to try and push it back, but at the same time, you just notice how much Rogue is having to focus on stopping this push. There is no vision on the map for Rogue. He has one, Overlord sitting outside in that dead airspace, directly down from the main base, but that's about it. Rogue doesn't really have anything. One ling has finally made its way across, but it's not going to actually see the main brunt of this reinforcements, which is going to be 2 tanks a bunch more Marines, and this push could be quite deadly. Like, what is there to defend? Rogue's going for a counterattack. There's some Lings and some Banelings. That's not enough to beat 2 tanks and this many Marines.
Oh yeah, this is like the good thing about the 2-1-1 build is that if you don't get any damage done with the initial Marines, at the very least you can kind of follow up with the 2 tank push here. And here we go. No bailing speed, keep in mind, but these Lings get a nice surround here. Oh my goodness, that was a beautiful surround and sandwich there, and all the tanks are going to get cleaned up.
Yeah, Rogue just collapses on absolutely everything, man. Just clean it all up. There was some good focus fire onto the Banelings, but the Queens were able to tank the tanks for so long. And I don't think Rogue even lost any of them. You know, that's just goes to show Queens, they're a decent unit. They do pretty good. And now you see that 3rd base coming up for BYUN, but it's so slow. Rogue already is establishing his 4th. That has finished. There's going to be Liberators with this follow-up, but BYUN, he really needs to get damage done. You see, that's why he's pushing out again.
Yeah, I mean, that's not good. A good situation when the Zerg is getting your 4th base before you can establish your your 3rd base. And yeah, BYUN is going to have to make work of the few units that he has right now. Ling speed, or not Ling speed, Bailey speed has finished this time around. So this army of Rogue is a little bit more dangerous, and BYUN is going to have to be very careful how he engages.
Yeah, I mean, you can just see how BYUN is tiptoeing around this. Army supply is even, but it's 30 worker advantage for Rogue. Liberator is now going to head out across the map. Well, that's going to be immediately scouted by this Ling Bane counterattack, but at the same time, BYUN does see that it's a Ling Bane counterattack across the other way. This tank should focus fire onto the Banelings, and Rogue, realizing that, will pull away, but this 3rd base still is not established. BYUN, he's trying to push into the same spot once again, but even with 2 tanks, even with a Liberator, I don't see how this gets much more damage done than it did the last time. As well, there goes the immediate pickup. Everything going to be evacuated onto the high ground.
Yeah, right now Rogue is going to go ahead and group up his army forces and gonna absolutely demolish this attack of BYUN. And really, BYUN is still not on 3 bases yet. Only now is he lifting off his 3 bases. And the situation is quite dire, and I am not quite sure how BYUN is going to go ahead and get himself out of this. I mean, he does have one, tied up on the upgrades, but Lurker or... Oh.
Rogue commits in too far, I think, with these Lings. Maybe not... Yeah, the micro not really there, but commits in a lot of the Lings before the Banelings were there. Means that a lot of that does end up going down. With that being said, he's still going to be able to get into this natural base mineral line. BYUN, though, actually takes a pretty decent trade here. 11 workers do end up going down, though, at the natural, at the 3rd, all combined. And, well, BYUN's going to tap out. Rogue finally able to finish it out.